perfect, man. I was
It
gonna say, welcome to the front line of the apocalypse. All right, we got my homegirl here. She's my homegirl.
Amen.
Here in the this is Serena. What's your last name?
Smith.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't want to say it. I was like, I'm gonna get it wrong.
No, that's okay.
I know, man. I got to trust ourselves. Yeah, Serena Smith. She's our homegirl. She's in the building.
Yes.
That we've been talking about, where we're broadcasting out of, which has several different names attached to it. But it is 1349. What is it?
1385.
1385, 89A, right across from Whole Food. It's the door in the building that faces the street.
That's right.
And Serena is a practitioner. She's into some things. We're going to talk about it.
Yes.
And then next week, we're going to do a follow-up show together, and we're going to take the camera into her studio, and Todd's going to be the guinea pig. So she's going to take me through some Pilates and some yoga, and I don't know what I just saw her observing her doing,
Right.
but she asked me, do you want to do this before you go on? I'm like, hell no. Looked like I would have split my groin in half.
That's what most guys think.
But no, I would actually do it. I'm just
Yeah.
very much in a, in a defragging state right now. So I can barely even, put two words together. But it's a pleasure having you on. I love your energy since the day I met you. You're very real. Ty is very real. I mean, I really resonate with Ty and Jade and Steven. But like when I first met Ty, I was like, oh my God, this guy's like, he's like my brother. And I actually have a brother named Ty. And they have very similar energy, even though my brother's not in Lightworker circles.
Yes. Well, last year when I first met you at a function in Satnam, and I saw you, I've seen you on your show for quite a few years, but you could be brothers. You actually look alike
I
too.
think so, yeah.
And that's interesting to me, the way...
You can't make this shift up.
No, you can't. You can't. So... Yes. So as I've been enjoying your videos, your interviews, what I've noticed that most of the topics are about non-physical things.
Yes.
We talk about intention, which is very powerful. That's non-physical.
True.
We talk about our emotions and how to work through our emotions, how to control or master our emotions. That is non-physical. We talk about energy. We talk about the chakra systems and getting the chakras flowing. All of these things are non-physical things.
True.
So whether we like it or not, or accept it or not, we are in very physical bodies.
I'm with you.
Yes.
I'm
And
with you.
so I just think it's an interesting topic to...
I think you're right on time because primarily the only physical thing we've talked about this year, and it's been more and more and more, is that the body's starting to speak to us.
That's right.
The body's like going, hey, you think the human is the hero and the human is part of this multi-dimensional composition of you, but there's another one that you're leaving out, and
That's
that
right.
is the body.
That's right.
Now, the body is like, what I'm getting is, it's saying to me, I am the same consciousness as your Syrian aspect. I'm the same. In fact, I have more potential within me because I am the mission.
That's right.
The mission being to alchemize and transform this body, which seems to be strictly matter, but it's not, right? And
It's not.
This is where you come in.
Yeah. So to open up this conversation about how these non-physical things that, and trust me, I'm very happy that we're talking about these non-physical things. The fact that the words I just mentioned is now quite common in our everyday conversations for the most part, where it's not taboo. We can talk about energy, we can talk about chakras, we can talk about the importance of intention and raising our awareness, which is just raising our consciousness. So I am so grateful that these are conversations that are being had right now, because that tells me that the collective is ready to have these conversations.
I'm with you on that.
That's really awesome, because that is definitely where we are going, is raising our awareness or our consciousness. So yes, and so most of us have heard this idea that we are not humans having a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
We are spirit
Yeah.
having a human experience.
Right.
And to really think about what that means, right? So in a way, this avatar, this vessel, we had to kind of compress our spirit, which is infinite and vast and limitless, and stuff it inside of this, what some people call a meat suit.
Yeah.
So a lot of the struggles that we have is because of that.
Yeah.
On the flip side of it, I do think that we chose this experience for that very reason.
I agree.
You know, so if we came from the God spark where there was nothing but love, limitless manifestation, and co-creation with our friends and family, and everything was going so smoothly and so perfectly that we actually decided to create a scenario to come down to a very dense, we call it dense, planet, and a dense body because of that. But it's beautiful in the same way because Earth is a physical being.
Yeah.
And I do think that Earth can exist without us, but I don't think we can, as a human being, exist without Earth. There is a very coherent relationship between our human physical vessel and the Earth.
Yeah.
So here we are. Now, our bodies, they do talk to us, okay? And it's like a compass or a gauge as to how our emotional being is. So oftentimes we associate with pain. So if pain comes up, it is a way for our spirit to tell us, hey, something's not right here. There's something out of alignment. And in the bodywork world, we say this, we store issues in our tissues. Meaning when we have an emotional experience, it shows up in our cells. And it is in our cells, and it shows up in our physical body because of that.
I don't believe in coincidences, but my beloved sister Leilani just put this up right when you said that. She said, "My body feels liberated today after disclosing a suppressed memory I have held for 43 years."
Oh my gosh.
So that's what you're talking about.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. And so oftentimes we get distracted by pain in our body. Yeah. And this is where this idea of mind, body, spirit comes into play. And this can kind of pull in Joseph Pilates' ideology and his method. But his whole idea was that his mission was to have people be in a pain-free body. And I carry on that mission. That's what empowers me. I would like to get people to a state of no pain or as little pain as possible so that they have the freedom to be authentic within themselves and their spirit. We all know what it feels like to wake up, get out of bed, stand up, and we have pain in our back. And that is all we think about is that pain until it goes away. And then when it goes away, then our spirit starts to come out and shine.
So is it conceivable, because we talk about, again, the non-physical stuff, right? And no one's ever pointed that out. I think that's a very good observation.
Yeah.
So we talk about shadow work, inner work, zero pointing, lots of different modalities and names, which has to do with, ultimately, knowing that stuff is stored, somatic memory, muscle memory, bone, whatever. So it's like you go in, you find this traumatic event or series of events or whatever it is, and you do what you do with it, and then the physical part of it goes into perfection or to its original state. So is it conceivable that through movement and body work that the same thing can be attained without having to go digging through all the shadows and that type of thing?
This is why I adore you, because you're so brilliant. And yes, exactly. That is something I was prepared to talk about. Not everyone is open enough to speak freely about their emotions. Trauma, maybe childhood trauma that is stuck with them, and they notice they're getting triggered in their adult life, and they can kind of see where that's coming from younger years. Not everyone is ready to be vulnerable enough to speak these things out loud. That is a feat in itself, to just say it out loud.
Absolutely it is.
And so in a sneaky way, during, my years of working with people's bodies, I am going into that spiritual side and that emotional side. So even though it may look as though I'm opening up a pectoral or creating space around the rib cage so they can go into a back bend, I really, on a non-physical level, we're breaking down the boundaries that we have created to protect our heart center. So yes, to answer your question, absolutely yes.
So I've known a couple of people, let's just say, that okay, let me just reframe this. Morgan's a practitioner. Every now and then, she'll come across somebody who needs a proxy. Like it's such a traumatic thing, or they're blocked. So I'll come in and I'll act as a proxy, contact my higher self, and then pull up their higher self, and then do the session, which is you have a proxy instead of okay. So. And the reason for that is because there's such a trauma. Let's say it's sexual abuse as a child.
Yes.
So, for instance, like in this modality, or I guess set of modalities, it's conceivable that I could work through my sexual trauma by going through certain movements and exercises. How do you know where to go?
Yes. Well, I've trained my eye to see where they're out of alignment. So what I look for is the structural alignment of somebody's anatomy or their skeleton. So when our skeleton is in perfect alignment, we are in ebb and flow of gravity. Things happen to us. We get into a car accident. We get a shoulder injury. We have chronic allergies, so we cough. And so life happens to us that pulls us out of alignment. Now, even though we can't feel it, gravity has the upper hand because we're not in ebb and flow with it. So it is slowly crushing us. So I see through the physical eye, okay, this shoulder needs to come back. This needs to untwist. This needs to come upright. And now we're in ebb and flow with gravity, which means we're pushing up against the pressure coming down rather than it overtaking us. And
balance.
Yes. And to come back around before I forget, we detach from our body when there's pain. So when we feel emotional pain, it's almost too painful to exist in this body because the density is intense. So I might not have a physical injury, but the memory of seeing a dog hit by a car, or the memory of, watching my grandmother pass away, it's hard to go there. So we detach. We try to take our essence out of our physical body because it's too painful to feel it. And what I love about a lot of our teachers and facilitators these days is that they're recognizing that that's not the answer. Because just because you detach from the physical feeling of that emotion doesn't mean it's going to go away. And if anything, it may continue to fester and create disease in the body. So when I'm working with someone through either yin yoga or the Pilates method or whatever dance, whatever movement it may be, it's an invitation for the spirit to know that its vessel is safe again and to feel again what it's like to be in your body. Because we are having a human, we are in a human experience, like I said, whether we like it or not. And I know from a personal place, I started my spiritual journey in my young 20s. And, I trained in Reiki Tumo, and that's when I first learned about how energy is quantum and quantum physics. And the idea was to just, we reach up. We think, heaven is this way, God is this way, the cosmos is this way. And so there's this idea that we want to leave our physical body. We want to leave the earth. And my teacher at the time reminded me that, yes, that is true. We are pulling in cosmic energy as a channel to, send that energy out to heal. But detaching from the physical body or the earth is a disservice. You're missing half of it, because actually you get more sensation of the energies when you ground yourself just as deeply into what we call the root of the earth or the center of the earth. And it actually, that groundedness can keep us, it's easier to maintain this high energy place of being.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can feel kind of flighty, or we don't know what time it is or what day of the week, or, and so that's why so much is, people say go sit by a tree, go walk barefoot, drink water, all these things to ground ourselves is so that we can marry the cosmic energy with the physical vessel.
Yeah.
And I think, when I think of earth, I think green, I think dirt, I think water, I think of all these things that are very wonderful to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so a big part of this is coming back into our body and just trying to acknowledge where we may have fragmented and left when this situation or that situation hurt. So a part of my spirit has left my physical body in that way. And so now we're very fragmented and not pulled together as one full unit. Yeah. And so one of the things that I've really come to love in my work also is that as time goes on, this is becoming more and more an energetic way of living.
Right.
Learning how to work with energy to manifest your dreams and desires.
That's just where I was going to go with
Yes. Or learning, my higher self is coming in. What does that feel like? Or I have a spirit guide whispering or sending messages into my mind's eye. What does that feel like? And so there's such subtle energies. Now, we're fortunate in Sedona to have some people that really sense that, no problem. Mm-hmm. It's like there's a spirit right here and they can describe it and see it. Mm-hmm. But not everyone has that. These energies are so subtle. Yeah. And so I feel that in my work, what I'm doing is I'm helping people understand what energy feels like. Yeah. And to discern, is that a physical energy? Is that something that's in my body? Is this something outside of my body? So it's practice, if you will.
But first by getting to know your body.
That's right. What does it just feel like anyways? Yeah. What does the body feel like to fully be in it and to accept it for what it is and what it feels like today in this moment?
Yeah, because ultimately, let's face it, in 5D or on a 5D Earth, there are no hospitals.
Right.
Right? So we know we have to extract from the 3D programming and machinations in order to step into this higher frequency. One of the things that's kind of amusing to me, but it's also very intriguing, and it's right up your alley, this is where I was going with it, is that with the whole COVID quarantine thing, you're seeing countries and cities and states talking about how nobody's going to the hospital.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's really cool, because ultimately everybody's going to understand that whatever it is occurring in their body has an energetic basis. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, wow, that's like the same thing with the educational systems. Kids went home, they're no longer in that programming.
That's right.
So they're now freed up a little bit.
Yes.
So it would make sense that as we're moving towards, say, 5D or higher frequency or New Earth, that there would be a major de-emphasization on the health system.
Right.
Just like the educational system is going through now.
That's right. Yeah. We have been taught to seek outside of ourselves for guidance. We go to doctors and we tend to give our power away because they've earned their degree and they spent the money to get that degree. And not to say that they haven't learned and they have a lot to offer. But what I am emphasizing is that our physical vessels have the innate ability to heal and regenerate.
Absolutely.
And I think we just got so used to, just listening to take this medicine if you have this symptom, take this if you have that. So much of this synthetic medicine or drugs is to really just put a Band-Aid on something so that you feel less. Yeah. They want you to feel less. Yeah. I want you to feel more. Yeah. Get rid of the Band-Aid, get rid of the drug, maybe use it if you need it, but then don't rely on a pill for the rest of your life. Our body has the innate ability to regenerate. It's amazing.
So in terms of on that subject, and let's just say, let's take something that's common, let's say circulation, blood circulation. The older you get, your arteries harden, evidently, from what I understand.
Sure.
something like that. Is there a way to address that through movement in these types of modalities?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
I think just movement in general is right away the pathway to circulation. It's about the heart and the heart of the health of the physical heart. So it pumping as well as the lungs. So we have these modalities that commune the physical body with the spirit, and breathing is one of them. I mean, look how popular breathing technique has become in the last 5-10 years, and not to say it hasn't been around forever, because a lot of people associate breathing with meditation, but it's a perfect example of how breathing is a very physical thing that we do, yet it helps us feel the very subtle essence of our soul. And Wayne Dyer talked about this. He had a book or a CD called Getting in the Gap. And it's this, after an inhale, there's a suspension where nothing's happening. And after the physical exhale, there's this time where there is no doing. There's neither an inhale nor exhale. There's no physical doing. And he said within that silence is where you just sense your spirit.
Yeah.
And
space
so
between breaths.
that's right. And so we try to work on building that skill of allowing that silence to get bigger and bigger. And that's literally how it starts. You think you have it, and then you build on it, and you give it space to grow. And we have to sense energy and grow it like a muscle.
Yeah.
And become strong in it, to become confident in it, so that we don't second guess, well, was that just my mind, or was that intuition coming through? So we
That's
really
that's a very good point. And I used to write about this. That you're saying it the same exact way, which was the space between breath. It's like the space between conscious and intuitive thought. It's not even, to me, it's not even totally intuitive. It's like right in the middle.
That's
like
right.
There's
like a void almost.
Yeah, it's like a suspension.
Or
it's just
silence.
Like,
We've been talking about silence this week,
how much does that play into it? As we evolve and expand collectively and individually, we're learning to shut the F up.
That's
we're
right.
learning to, not only, and I'm being funny, but we're learning to, quiet down here.
That's right.
And then quiet down in conversations with people.
That's right.
Which really means that we're learning to be present and listen. But how does silence play into? You do yoga too, right?
I do yoga.
So how does that play into any of the modalities you're familiar with? How does that play into it?
Yeah. I think again, it's coming back to being grounded and just what does it feel like to be in my body? And what is my body telling me? That's something I'll ask my students a lot. I'll say, okay, we just did the left side. Now let's see what that feels like, that we've worked the left side and we haven't done the right side yet. So now let's go ahead and go do and work the right side now. So it gives us information. And I think that's a big part of our human vessel, is it's a constant feedback loop of how you're feeling, and your body is reflecting that towards you. One of the things that I love is that as people feel stronger and their spine becomes more aligned, and then I actually get them to move their feet, flex, like use the flexibility of their feet and press off the earth so they can go.
Are we going to do this next week?
Yeah, we should. Yeah. But the more they feel confident in their physical body, I see the evolution of their spirit starting to be like, okay, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm more... what's the word? I'm more grounded. I'm more present in my physical body. I feel more confident and secure. So now I can allow my authentic self to come out. Now, I've been doing Pilates more than I've been doing yoga. I would consider myself a Pilates instructor who loves to do yoga. However, I had taken some training in yin yoga, which was a very interesting modality because it's kind of talks a little bit about everything we're doing here. In yin yoga, you hold a pose for like a minimum of 2 to 5 minutes. So you bring your body into a shape, an architectural structure, and it's very yin, meaning it's passive. So rather being in a very active, aggressive, like warrior pose, you're actually in a very soft, relaxed pose where the idea is that you allow your muscles to just kind of melt off of your body. And you're not pushing yourself beyond the natural organic limit that your body is ready to take at that moment. So then with time, knowing that gravity is there, the space between our connective tissue and our bones start to release.
Right.
The fibers literally start to tear, and I know people don't like it when I say tear, but that is what's happening. The physical fibers of your fascia and muscles are tearing, which is creating space. And so then in those moments while you're waiting for 5 minutes, which sometimes can feel like 10 minutes if it's like a hard pose, you put your breath in there. So now from the inside out, you're expanding the shape, and the physical space that's being made between your tissues and your bones is now opening even more just through the very act of breathing. And then you come out of the shape, and when you finish and you stand up, you're just more in structural alignment with the ebb and flow of gravity. Now, the other important thing about this is I think we can all agree that we have a chakra system, and our chakra system is in our spine. And so if we are physically off balance and misaligned, then I think that the ebb and flow of our chakra system is not fully there. And so Joseph Pilates has a famous quote that you are only as old as your spine is. I mean, he lived to be into his 80s, and he acted like a 20-year-old because his spine was in alignment and his chakras were open and thriving and expanding and contracting. So yes, to go back to that, one of your earlier questions, we can very, very much so heal our emotional body, tune into the receiving the energies that will help our innate miraculous body regenerate and heal itself. You know, we really don't need much other than water, sunshine, and some really good feeling thoughts and some nutrition. But, you know, our bodies really don't need much more than that. They just want us to listen, and they just want us to pay attention to it. So I encourage people to get, you know, just start shaking and moving. Get more physical. You know, I've never gone to a workout where I said, why did I do that? You know, I maybe didn't want to get up out of bed and go to that workout in the morning, but afterwards I felt invigorated. You know, I mean, how do you feel after a walk around the block, a hike in the Red Rocks, a swim? Maybe you go out to see some live music and you're dancing around for a couple of hours. That sense of just like, right? So what movement is it's another way to move energy. Just in the way that when we receive the gong vibration, we might receive Reiki or quantum energy healing, you know, all these different and amazing modalities that we have. Moving the physical body is another way to just kind of shake off some of that excess residual emotion that we pick up throughout the day that could be yours or not even yours. You know, because empaths, we tend to kind of take on people's emotions. And, you know, there's a purpose to that because it helps us sense where they could use some encouragement, you know. But really, all these modalities are doing the same thing, which is to move energy. We don't want to be stagnant or stuck. If a chakra is blocked, the energy is stuck. So I can choose to put a tuning fork on there. I can choose to hit a gong and let that go in there. Or I can choose to do a movement that is going to move that energy around.
There's a lot to be said for movement. I mean, because so many modalities, they have like specific things you got to do, and you know, you don't always resonate with it. But you know, really with what you're saying, just getting out and moving. Also embracing. You know, so many outward media, societal constructs. You know, we have to look a certain way. We have to like weigh this amount, eat this, don't eat. I mean, there's so much limit and confusion being put on us that people are like apprehensive to just be confident in their body. You know, because we're just confused. You know, and that's the thing. It's like block it all out. Well, it's like the medication and doctors and hospitals. And I know, and I was telling you this earlier, when I reawoke, it was 2 years of walking on the streets. And I mean, I would walk probably an average of at least, I'd say 5 miles a day.
Wow.
And then dancing in electronic and hip hop clubs. Probably 5 to 6 nights a week, which was usually a 2 to 4 hour pretty much nonstop thing.
That's right.
And I noticed two things. Of course, I got some of this information from my team or whatever you want to call it. But what I noticed as the human part of me, who was going through this massive awakening, dealing with a lot of non-physical energy, and going through the doubts and like, is this really happening? But what I could not deny was I'd had back pain for 12 years. I had chronic back pain. I had ankylosing spondylitis. Tested positive for this disease, which actually had totally crippled my brother.
Wow.
And so anyway, what happened was I noticed that my back, which the lower back muscles had atrophied. But I got basically in the best shape of my life since I was about 20.
Through walking and dancing.
Walking and dancing. But there was something else going on because there was almost like an adrenaline flowing through my body, which I recognize as not just being a physical force. It was actually kind of a fusion.
Right.
But I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is because, one, I look at things sometimes like, I don't like working out. But I like to dance, I like to play basketball, I like to swim.
You like to be physical. Yeah, you do
like to move. But I'm just saying, so it's not like lifting, you know what I mean? It's not tedious. But what I'm getting from you, and then reflecting on what I'm bringing up now, is that through, I guess, like say for instance, you just didn't know where to start and you said, okay, I'm going to go for a 2-mile walk every day, one time a day from here out. Right. Just by virtue of that, without any specific intention, I have a feeling that there must be some type of flow in your energy that actually has like a general I don't know, I don't want to say antidote, but like a general treatment for the entire field of the body that kind of can bring up everything deficient, that maybe not fully, but can bring up everything a little bit.
Sometimes I use the analogy of a vehicle or a car with our bodies, right? So if a car's been stagnant sitting there for a month and you haven't turned it on, we're afraid the battery has died or something. So there's something about this idea of stagnation versus movement. And I mean, I don't even know all the systems in our body. I mean, we've got circulatory, we've got the lymph nodes, we've got hormones. I mean, there's so many things going on. I know that when we bend our joints, it creates a lubrication. So if you're not moving and bending in a certain way, you're not getting the synovial fluid that's supposed to organically lubricate our joints anyways. So there is absolutely something about the active movement that will keeps our vessels functioning at its optimum place of being. And so it is when we become more stagnant that things start to shut down. And they had said, like sitting is the new smoking. I mean, over time it can kill you because it shortens your diaphragm, it closes you in, your heart's not as aligned, you're not breathing as much. I mean, there's really just so many layers.
You know a lot.
I've been doing this for a long time. My mom put me into dance classes, tap and ballet when I was 2 years old, which I can't even imagine what I did then. And I didn't stop dancing, for the next 20-something years. And then I retired from dance and organically moved into the Pilates method, which was very much just about alignment, which was great because with dance, it's kind of, it's the the line that we look at that's appeasing. That's why we go see the ballet, because of the beautiful visuals that are made with the body.
I just like to watch her toes.
Yeah, their toes. It's incredible, right? So Pilates is so much about alignment and the lines, and there actually is quite a bit of even yoga, freedom for expression of your spirit, but in a non-verbal way, but very physical, and to get that out. I mean, think of how many people that, they're just not right unless they've gone to their yoga class, and so what is that? Why does it feel so good after a yoga class where you're not going to get frustrated or triggered when you go into work that morning? There's something to that. And another thing I think about is when you have a young dog or like a puppy, and if you don't get that dog out for a walk and fatigue it, it's going to start to misbehave. It's going to start chewing on your furniture or ripping something up. So there is something about the physiology of our body that we need to exert a certain amount of energy so that it does not come out in a verbal aggression.
It's going to come out one way or the other.
Or an emotional aggression. That's right.
Do you think that the voice of the body is getting louder? as we collectively, transverse.
I do, and thank you for bringing that up. And so there's something to that, because the more you ignore the voice of that, the bigger that problem can get. The other thing I would like people to start thinking about is that, the thoughts, as we brood over certain things and hold on to things, we can't deny the fact that we have interactions with other beings. We can't deny the fact that, a person might do something where I would think like, gosh, I would never do something like that. Or, we have a lot of judgments as to how other people choose to live, speak, exist in this world. But, we can't, if we hold on to that, we're hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
Because those thoughts, like I said, they get stored in our cells and in our physical vessel. So when we hold a grudge against someone, we think, in a weird way that, oh, well, they're going to feel this, this is the repercussion or their karma because I'm holding on to my grudge. But really, they have no idea that you're holding on to that grudge, and all you're doing is hurting yourself.
That's right.
And so you might not be able to freely express yourself verbally.
No one really suffers when you get angry, but
Yeah.
you. I mean.
But, to work through and process those emotions, alchemize, as our friend Lori says, will then free your body from physical suffering and pain.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why, oftentimes we say, try to stay positive, keep positive thoughts. Well, there's a very big reason for that, because it will show up in our physical body.
That's a good combination for someone that's starting out, saying, oh my God, this all looks so complicated.
Yeah.
And you could say, hey, guard your thoughts.
Yeah.
Kind of go down that path and then move it.
Yeah, movement is great.
Those two things would be a good start for anybody.
And, let's face it, it can be very intimidating to walk into that yoga class for the first time, to walk into that Pilates class for the first time, where you're surrounded by people who have been doing this for years. And I say, hey, we've all started somewhere, and that's why we call it a practice, because there is no perfect pose.
So
there is
we're gonna do this
perfection.
next week.
That's fine.
But there's not
Let's do
going to
it.
be other people in there.
No.
Just the camera.
There's not even room for other
Just
people.
the cameraman's going to be in
That's
there.
right.
So we're going to do at least one yoga pose, I guess. You're going to just take...
Or Pilates. I have the equipment. It's awesome. So
I'm okay with the Pilates, even what you were doing today. I'm not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
So is it like... Are we going to do like some type of assessment? Like if somebody walks into your office, do you first assess? Okay.
Yeah, it's without me even thinking about it. I mean, I just do it.
Oh, you scan
I could be people watching and I'm scanning.
Okay, so you're scanning.
I'm constantly scanning, like that shoulder's down, they're limping, they're not. I mean,
so we could start with that.
Yeah.
Like, where you could say, okay, I just want to be like a client coming in for the first time.
Right.
And then you're going to say, well, you might not normally say that, but you say, I'm scanning you. And we'll just see what happens.
Right.
Very cool.
The other thing too is when people start to feel pain, or there's chronic pain, like you said, you've had for 12 years or something in your back.
I had it from 30 to 42.
Okay, yeah, that's like way too long.
Yeah.
And during that time, isn't it true that was a distraction?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was debilitating.
Yeah. And it maybe made you grumpy, a little groggy. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
So you weren't tied in your spirit, sharing the amazing being that
you
are.
I didn't laugh
you
during
were
that 10-year
tied
period.
with pain.
Yeah,
so that is what my drive is for this work, is to get people, first of all, out of pain. Because we all deserve that. The other thing too is when we get so used to being in chronic pain, we just think, well, that's it. I'm just going to have this for the rest of my life. And honestly, most of it is on a tissue level. Now if you have arthritis or you get stenosis where it's bone on bone, then, there's a certain level that is true. We can't necessarily correct that until the medical beds come in. But, what people should learn is that we have this connective tissue that has the ability to stretch and expand and open up. And because our connective tissue attaches to our bones, right, if the connective tissue shortens through lack of movement or lack of stretching, it pulls the bones together, and now we're starting to touch nerves and whatnot, which emanates the pain. So what I love to show people is, they may have had chronic pain for 10 years or so. They come in and they do one Pilates session, and the pain goes away or diminishes by 50%. So then this light of glimmer and hope comes back to, behind their eyes, like, yes, don't settle for the fact that you are you with this chronic pain. It can change. You know, we are made of water. Water is malleable and mutable. So
I'm with you on that.
yeah.
So we're gonna test this out next week, and I'm real. I don't have any. I really don't have any pain anymore, but I'm gonna be. I want to jump into the Pilates, see what I've never done yoga, and we'll just see where it goes.
Right.
So it'll be a little different. You can look forward to that the first part of next week.
That'll be fun.
And let us know now what you do online, if anything, what you do locally, how people get in touch with you.
Okay, yeah. Well, right now, presently, I'm mostly here at this studio. I was teaching at other facilities before the shutdown, and that got, stopped. So you can find me here physically. I have my business card here. I have a studio suite where I have 2 pieces of a Pilates equipment, and when Ty and I created this space, one of the names or the umbrella that we put this under is, and we thought long and hard about this wording, but it's Quantum Resonance Institute. And we liked the word institute because we knew we were going to be teaching, so we are all teachers here and we want to share our skills. And so I also liked the shortened version of it, which was QRE. So you'll see Quantum Resonance Institute on our sign out front. Also, that's our website where you'll find my bio and my services and everyone else's bio and services. So that's probably the best way to kind of find out more about me. I have an old school email, serenasmith@yahoo.com. Can you believe it?
I have one of those.
Do you?
Yeah.
So,
I have a Yahoo.
Yeah. So, those are the best ways to contact me right now. I will be presenting some yin yoga with sound therapy through the Vibrational Empowerment Network. And, oh man, that's just like a whole nother mind trip, right? So now here we are in this physical shape or pose. I also like to think of it as an architectural structure that you make with your body. And while you're holding the pose and creating space, now we get this frequency and vibration of sound that is also penetrating your tissues. So not only is the time, the space, the breath creating space, but the vibration coming into your vessel is breaking up the dormant, blocked energy.
Yeah,
so
I'm all for that.
It's a beautiful fusion of movement and sound frequency.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I that would make it more enticing for me. Can we play some Tool next week when we're...
I love Tool, yeah, for sure. He lives here, right? Maynard?
Does he really?
Oh, yeah, he's up in Jerome.
Excuse me?
Oh, yes,
I'm
sir.
going to go find him.
He owns a vineyard. He's got a restaurant in Cottonwood. Maynard is here.
Oh, my God.
I know.
I'm going. I'm leaving.
I don't know how to find him, but we can put it out there.
I will find him. I will. I'll probably get arrested. But,
it's okay.
But I will find him.
So this is part of one of the, because, we work with energy, we work with sound, and I kind of bring in that physical part of it. Yeah. I don't know how much more time
You're a wealth of information.
Yeah.
No, we're coming to the close.
We're coming to the close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to say or talk about? Anything you want to do?
Yeah, we can maybe do something.
Do you want to do a yoga pose for us?
Well, we can maybe do like a few things sitting here, but before what I wanted to mention also is this idea that as we transition to 5D and beyond, there's this idea that we're actually taking our physical bodies with us. And that's wild to me. However, the physical body is going to become less dense. And because our whole solar system is more into the photonic belt and the cosmos, really what this is about is letting light in. So when we're bringing in consciousness and guided messages, what we're doing is letting in light. So once again, another opportunity and, importance of opening the physical vessel to let more light in, because like Kalina was saying, when Bashar came through, it's like on a molecular level, our cells and our DNA is literally coming back to what it was designed to be before it got thwarted. And then on top of our DNA coming back into alignment, so we have more use of our brain capacity, our cells are cracking open so that more light can come in. And light is sound.
Yeah.
And movement and light and sound, it's all vibration, it's
Yeah.
all energy, it's all the same.
That's right.
Okay, so let's do something very simple. So we'll place your hands on your abdomen, belly.
Like this?
Yep, and so we know our diaphragm is here, and so there's two types of breathing. Well, there's probably more than that, but so just breathe into your belly. And you'll know that because you're allowing your stomach to expand into your hands. Okay. And so this is what diaphragmatic breathing feels like. A lot of yoga breaths are like so. And notice how it's stretching the rectus abdominis is your six-pack muscle. That's what gets really shortened when we sit a lot in our psoas. So this is important to expand those muscles. And you see what that feels like. Okay, now we're going to switch and place your hands on your ribs.
My ribs.
Now, when you breathe, consciously fill your hands. So breathe in and let your ribs expand into your hands. And exhale, let them come together. And just keep practicing that, right? Noticing how your lungs, which are a three-dimensional organ, are in this cage we call your ribs. And now you're utilizing your lungs to the fullest. Knowing that your lungs are not only here under your collarbones, but they're also in the sides of your ribs. So breathe in, feel that expand, breathe out. Now, with your intention, breathe only into the back lobes of your lungs. And notice how just the very act of intentional breathing is probably stretching the muscles in between your ribs on your backside. Okay, now we can actually, with our intention, pull it all together. You can breathe front, side simultaneously, sides, back, exhale. Good. And again, breathe back, front, side to side, and then all the way down into the diaphragm. And do you see how much space you're creating in your vessel?
It's very interesting.
Isn't that wild?
I've never done anything like that.
And that was just breathing. Okay.
Very interesting. So you did, if you could do like 10 minutes of that, you probably feel a pretty substantial difference.
That's the thing, right? And, I think on a daily basis, we're just striving to feel good.
Yeah.
Whether that's emotionally, energetically, physically, we just want to feel good.
Right on.
Yeah, so, yay.
Make sure. Okay. Yes, so we're going to be doing one more little segment. I'm going to take a break because the breathing made me dizzy.
Okay.
And so...
You've been dizzy all day.
I know, I've been dizzy all day. Todd's not Todd today. There's
Okay.
no doubt.
All right.
But we're going to get together next week
Okay.
with this beautiful, beloved sister. And we're going to have some fun inside serious fun inside your office. And
That'd be
thank
great.
you for coming in.
Thank you
and
so much.
Appreciate you. All
I
right.
appreciate you.
Uno más.